If you haven't already, please smash that like button. Every person who hits the like button helps the stream get seen by more people. It does something to YouTube's algorithm, so they put it in more people's feeds. So smash, 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 please. Also consider becoming a member of Status Coup. We really want to reach 1,300 members by the end of today. It's Valentine's Day, right? Give some love to Status Coup. Join at statuscoup.com/join. You'll get great behind the scenes member content. You'll get members calls, you'll get a ton of great stuff, and we have really good plans in the works. $5 a month, super easy, super fun, and it helps us keep reporting, keep investigating, keeps Jordan out in the field. Remember, he's going to Nevada to report on the ground just like he did in Iowa and New Hampshire, and that was such fantastic stuff. statuscoup.com/join. Keep the super chats coming, they help so much. Also, you can support us at any amount through paypal.me/statuscoup. Okay, so did I remind you to smash that like button? All right, I think I did. So this next story is a continuation of our reporting on the shadow app, the disastrous shadow app out of Iowa. You will not be surprised to find, just as we told you, that the DNC was in fact very intimately involved in the shadow app. It wasn't just the Iowa Democratic Party, it was the DNC. So this reporting is from Yahoo News. Great job to them. Documents reveal DNC was intimately involved in development of troubled Iowa Caucus app. Troubled is somewhat of an understatement. So this is by Hunter Walker, White House correspondent, Yahoo News. While the Democratic National Committee over the past 10 days has tried to distance itself from the troubled app that threw the results of the Iowa caucuses into disarray, a copy of the contract and internal correspondence provided to Yahoo News demonstrates that National Party officials had extensive oversight over the development of the technology. So before I continue on with this, I want to remind you that the Democratic establishment, the DNC, does not in any way at all want Bernie Sanders to be the Democratic nominee. So keep that in mind as we talk about their involvement with this disastrous app that threw everything into utter chaos and that we still don't have the full results out of Iowa. The Democrats' Iowa caucuses took place on February 3rd, but the outcome is still in question following a series of issues related to the failure of an app that was supposed to be used to submit results. In the days since the debacle, DNC Chair Tom Perez has criticized the Iowa Democratic Party, which ran the caucuses, and the developer of the app, Shadow Inc. An unaffiliated Democratic operative in Iowa provided Yahoo News with a copy of the contract between Shadow and the Iowa Democratic Party. The contract, which was signed on October 14, 2019, and refers to Shadow as the consultant, specified that the company had to work with the DNC and provide the National Party with access to its software for testing. Wow. So you're telling me that this contract was only signed in October? These people had, the Iowa Democratic Party, the DNC, they had over a year to prepare for the caucuses. They are first in the nation. They know how important this is, not because of delegates, but because of the narrative, the bump that comes for the winner out of Iowa. So they only signed a contract in October. Now, previously, they had used Microsoft. So in 2016, they used a Microsoft app. There didn't seem to be any issues with that. But now they went with an unknown new company, by the way, started by Hillary people, former Hillary staffers, and Pete Buttigieg supporters. And they only signed the contract in October. So now they're saying that the company in this contract, the contract specified that they had to work with the DNC and provide the National Party with access to its software for testing. So just, again, some more things to keep in mind as we read further. Consultant agrees to work with the DNC Services Corporation Democratic National Committee, that's the DNC, on an ongoing basis as consultant develops the software, the contract reads. The contract also specifies that Shadow agrees to provide DNC continual access to review the consultant's system configurations, security and system logs, system designs, data flow designs, security controls, preventative and detective, and operational plans for how the consultant will use and run the software for informational dissemination, pre-registration, tabulation, and reporting throughout the caucus process. So they actually, and kudos to Yahoo for not just reporting this, but also making the contract available. I will link to this in the description so that you can read it in full. I certainly won't read it to you here. Let's see here. An email provided to Yahoo News also appears to show that Seema Nanda, the CEO of the DNC, and Kat Atwater, the National Party's Deputy Chief Technology Officer, were involved in drafting the contract and requested the addition of the provision that gave them access to Shadow and the app. So if you are giving these people the benefit of the doubt, giving these DNC people the benefit of the doubt, which I don't really think we should at this point. They've really shown their true colors over and over again. The Shadow app didn't really get thorough testing. It never got testing on a statewide level. It totally failed. So if you're giving the DNC the benefit of the doubt, like, oh, we just wanted access to the software so that we could test it and make sure it was going to work okay and make sure everything was okay. Well, then you guys really bleeped the bed. What a disaster. So whether or not you think that it was nefarious, this contract and their involvement in the Shadow app, they really screwed up. This is complete incompetence. And Tom Perez and Seema Nanda and Kat Atwater, what are you guys doing? You're either incompetent or you're purposeful, or both. Which is it? In discussing our placement in the process with Seema on Friday, she suggested that it would be helpful to include the following provision in the contracts with your vendors. So Yahoo nicely provides that as well. So Yahoo contacted, and I really don't want to say this name incorrectly. I'll try with the last name, Hinojosa. So DNC Communications Director Hinojosa responded to questions about the contract language in Atwater's email by saying the party wanted access to the app only to address potential security concerns. So he said, we requested access to the tool solely for the purpose of doing security testing. And I want to remind you that Homeland Security offered to test this app for security reasons, and they weren't able to. So if these people are so concerned about security, why didn't they take up Homeland Security on their offer? All these questions that I have here. So of course, there are some redactions in this, the information that they have, but that's okay. I don't want to read all of this to you, but I do want to point out, here we go, where the source said Shadow had charged the IDP at least $60,000 for its work so far. The IDP, or Shadow and firm CEO Gerard Nimera, did not respond to multiple requests for comment. So a lot of money was paid to the Shadow app, including by the Pete Buttigieg campaign, by the way. The Iowa Democratic Party was introduced to Shadow through the state party in Nevada, which also planned to use an app made by the company for its caucuses. So before I move on, let's kind of review, because I do want to connect this to Nevada as well. So the Democratic Party, Seema Nanda, Kat Atwater, and presumably Tom Perez, the chair, had a lot to do with this app. And we have the full contract with some redactions, but the full contract that shows that this is the case. And they say it's for security and for testing. So with that said, then it falls on them. It falls on them, this disaster of what happened in Iowa. It falls on them that we don't have the full results reported. It falls on them that Pete Buttigieg was able to claim victory with 0% results in, that Pete Buttigieg got the media bump that Bernie Sanders, the actual winner of Iowa, should have gotten. So is this nefarious? Is this a stolen election? Is this going to keep happening? Let's take a look at Nevada. So again, they said that the Iowa Democratic Party was introduced to Shadow through the state party in Nevada. But the Nevada Democratic Party announced it would not be using Shadow's app for its caucuses. So the early voting actually starts tomorrow, and the actual caucuses take place on February 22nd. Nevada, as far as we know, plan to use a tool. They're not using the Shadow app. They say they're not using an app at all. What they're doing is preloading something. They call it a tool onto iPads provided by the state party. Nobody, including volunteers, knows anything about this app. We have a source who is currently in training for the caucuses in Nevada, and these people have been asking questions. These volunteers have been asking questions. Well, how do we use this app? When are we going to get information and training? And they're being told it's delayed, that they don't have it available, that the trainings are being pushed back. There's a lot of weird stuff happening. So while Nevada is not using the Shadow app, they clearly switched what they're using at the last minute. They clearly don't have all of their ducks in a row, or maybe they do, and maybe, again, this is on purpose. I can't say for sure, but everything's lining up to look that way. It sure looks like they don't want Bernie Sanders to be the Democratic nominee, and that they'll do anything they can to stop him. So again, the Iowa debacle continues. The AP has declined to name a winner, even though the Iowa Democratic Party said Pete Buttigieg had edged out Bernie Sanders in delegates, while Sanders won the popular vote. And again, Sanders won the popular vote by quite a lot. Troy Price, the Iowa party's state chairman, announced his resignation on Wednesday. So Tom Perez, who a lot of people are calling for his resignation, has laid the blame for the app debacle on the IDP, the Iowa Democratic Party. So, but the contract shows us that Tom Perez should have known, that C. Menendez should have known, because they were supposed to oversee things along the way. So Hinojosa, the DNC communications director, said that there were no issues with the security features in the login. And according to her, all of the problems stemmed from code in the software's back end. So that might be true, but it's not enough. You know, they had access to everything. Why weren't they making sure that everything was okay? Why weren't they truly testing this? Why did they only sign this contract in October? They had a lot more time than that. Why did they go with this new company and not something like Microsoft? It doesn't make any sense. So we have no real information about Nevada, neither do the people who will be running the caucuses. It's a real mess. It's very, very concerning. Again, I'll link to this article so that you can read through it. There's a lot more kind of nuance that you can read through in the contract, which is quite extensive. But the bottom line is that the DNC knew they had a hand in this. It wasn't hands-off like Tom Perez is trying to say. It wasn't just the Iowa Democratic Party, who, by the way, the Iowa Democratic Party totally screwed up. It's right that Troy Price stepped down. But Tom Perez should also step down. He screwed up. This is his fault. This should never have happened. It's egregious. It goes against democracy. It's completely absurd. So we will keep reporting on this. Whatever happens in Iowa, whatever happens in Nevada, we will stay on it because it's important for the people to know. This isn't something that can be just swept under the rug. Just because Iowa's over, it doesn't mean we just ignore it and move on. Sure, Bernie Sanders and volunteers and everyone have to focus on the next races, but it's important to highlight the corruption here, to highlight the incompetency, whether you want to call it incompetence or purposefulness. Whatever the word is. That's why we're going to stay on it. We're going to keep investigating. We're going to keep looking at all the breaking news out of Iowa, out of Nevada. Jordan, again, will be on the ground in Nevada. We are talking to a lot of sources, collecting a lot of information, trying to figure out what this tool is, who has made this tool that's going to be used in the Nevada caucuses now that the Shadow app will not be used in Nevada. So please, please, I'll say it again. I'll say it over and over. Please become a member of Status Coup. You keep us going. We're not paid by the oligarchy. We don't have mega funding. We don't have shady connections or donors. We are funded by you, the people. And to top it off, you get some really cool stuff. So statuscoup.com/join for some behind the scenes video diaries, behind the scenes photos of reporting. monthly member calls, tons of cool stuff. Statuscoup.com/join. It's Valentine's Day. Shower us with love. Keep the super chats coming and hit that like button. All right.